Shohei Ohtani just made history by founding the 50-50 Club. Everyone is crazy about him in Japan. I get to see it firsthand. You'll see advertisements of him everywhere, and the Dodgers are easily the most represented team in Japan. But you know which Japanese star has quietly had a great season too that's not nearly as talked about? Shota Imanaga, the 31-year-old ace of the Chicago Cubs, who made his way to America this year, but on a significantly cheaper contract than what the Dodgers signed Yoshinobu Yamamoto to. Imanaga is only 9th on the Cubs payroll right now and 3rd among starting pitchers. While the National League Cy Young Award should come down to Zach Wheeler and Chris Sale, Imanaga should at the very least be a top 5 candidate. Imanaga was posted to Major League Baseball 2 months before Yoshinobu Yamamoto was last year, yet Yamamoto still got a much larger contract from the Dodgers 2 weeks before Imanaga was signed by the Cubs. At 5'10", Imanaga is not the most overpowering pitcher, as his fastball only averages at 92 miles per hour, but he makes up for it with impeccable command and movement. Scouts were concerned that because the high strike is not called as much in Japan as it is in Major League Baseball, if he doesn't locate those pitches properly, he will be hit hard. There was some truth to that concern of him being hit hard, but Imanaga has still done way more good than bad for the Cubs. As of now, Imanaga has the 6th best ERA in Major League Baseball at 2.91, the 7th best WHIP at 1.021, while striking out 25.1% of the batters he's faced and walking just 4%. Fun fact, Ohtani is 0 for 5 against Imanaga in the 2 games they faced each other. Yet I've never seen Imanaga on any advertisements here in Japan, and I certainly haven't heard him talked about nearly as much as Ohtani. Imanaga's ERA and WHIP make it seem like there's no way he shouldn't be a top 5 Cy Young candidate. Chris Sale, Zach Wheeler, and Paul Skeens above Imanaga is fine, but Logan Webb and Dylan Cease, whoa there, that's definitely fishy. Okay, Imanaga has a 371 FIP, which is fair to say hurts his case. An explanation for that would be the 27 home runs he's given up, which can happen when you're a control pitcher who throws with below average velocity. He was prone to giving up the long ball in Japan too. Those tend to be close to half the few earned runs he's given up. Didn't Justin Verlander win the Cy Young Award when he was tied for 2nd in home runs given up in 2019 though? What also might hurt Imanaga when comparing him to Dylan Cease and Logan Webb is that he hasn't gone as deep into games as often as those 2 guys, and they've pitched 3 more games. However, I still think Imanaga having a better ERA, WHIP, K rate, and walk rate than Webb should matter more. Cease only has a better K rate, but with Imanaga having a better walk rate, ERA, and WHIP, that should matter more. Not to mention, Cease only barely has a better hard hit percentage. Cease and Webb may have given up a lot less home runs than Imanaga, but both have pitched in what are known to be pitcher-friendly ballparks, while Wrigley Field's ballpark factors can really depend on the wind conditions. Now for Imanaga's career in Japan, he may not be as decorated as Yamamoto, even with more experience, so it makes sense that Yamamoto had a lot more eyes on him this offseason and got the much bigger contract. However, Imanaga still had a solid career pitching for the Yokohama DNA Bay Stars. He pitched a no-hitter 2 years ago, made 2 All-Star games, and had a career 3.18 ERA while bringing that down to 2.98 in the postseason. Last year, as teammates with Trevor Bauer, they had similar stats. Imanaga's ERA was barely worse than Bauer's, but he also gave up less hits per 9 innings and had the better K rate and walk rate. Before that, Imanaga was a member of Samurai Japan when they won the World Baseball Classic. He was used out of the bullpen more and did good enough, giving up 2 earned runs in 6 innings, which is an ERA of 3, while having the 5th most strikeouts on the team and not walking anybody. This year, he joined a Cubs pitching staff that was about league average and without any major additions to the starting rotation. He went into the season as just the 4th starter, but was the biggest reason the Cubs starting pitching made a noticeable improvement. Did anyone imagine Imanaga to be as unhittable as he was in his first 6 starts? In ERA and WHIP under 1, with 35 strikeouts and just 4 walks. Of course, he had to come back down to earth eventually. His ERA in June was not so good, good, but he was only terrible in one start. Take that one start out and he had an ERA of 3 for the month. August, which was also not his best month statistically, he still made it to the 7th inning in 3 out of 6 starts. This month, he has an ERA of 167 and a whip under 1. When Imanaga faced the Dodgers earlier this month in a game where Seiya, Suzuki, Ohtani, and Yamamoto were the first 4 Japanese-born players to start in the same game since a Yankees-Mariners game in 2007, Imanaga gave up 3 home runs, but those were the only 3 runs he gave up as he still went 7 innings to secure the win against who we all know is the far better team. The Dodgers' top 3 hitters were also a combined 0 for 9 against Imanaga. Even with Justin Steele having a near identical ERA this year to last year where he was 5th in Cy Young voting and Jameson Taillon having a career year, Imanaga has been more available than both of them. After Imanaga's latest start where he went 7 shutout innings which brought his ERA below 3 for the season, it's definitely safe to say Imanaga's the biggest difference maker for the Cubs starting pitching, improving as much as they did as just their 3rd highest paid starting pitcher. Imanaga also has a better K rate and walk rate than Steele and Taillon. Imanaga never had an injury history in Japan, well neither did Yoshinobu Yamamoto, but the fact that Imanaga doesn't throw nearly as hard may help him with being more available and adjusting to having to pitch more since the MLB season is 18 more games than the Nippon Pro Baseball season. The Cubs also pushed back one of his starts in May to make sure he stayed healthy throughout the season. Being healthy has also allowed Imanaga to do what Yamamoto was unable to do because he got injured, make his first All-Star game. The Cubs may be bound to miss the playoffs while Ohtani will finally get to play some postseason baseball for the first time in his Major League Baseball career. However, the Cubs are having their first winning season since 2020. First winning season in a full 162 game season since 2019. Imanaga has had a lot to do with it as he is 15-3 on the season. I think he deserves his flowers too, even if it's Ohtani that everyone raves about in Japan, and rightfully so, and not so much Imanaga. This isn't taking away anything from Ohtani. To be the first player to ever hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in a season just doesn't sound human, and to know if his arm is healthy he can pitch too, that also doesn't sound human. Imanaga has quietly had himself a nice first season in the big leagues though, and I think it should be talked about more. It may also not be long before we see him in the postseason since the Cubs are not that bad now and have the 8th best farm system right now with 6 guys who are projected to be Major League ready next year. Imanaga also put up some solid performances in the postseason in Japan, so it does seem like he can handle pressure well. So what do you think? Is there anyone else you think is getting overshadowed that you think I should talk about? Please let me know in the comments. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, a like would be much appreciated, and if you could please consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you never miss another video. Welcome to the team. If you're already subscribed, thanks so much for your support as always. Links to my social media are down below if you want to see my more immediate reactions to what's going on in the sports world. If you'd like to see my most recent video or the one that YouTube recommends, both are up above. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.